and welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
Jan. Tara.
And I'm Josh. And Jan, you've been here for 4 episodes thus far, or this is your 4th episode. How have you been enjoying yourself?
I've been enjoying myself immensely. We've had some very good discussions, and we've had a lot of fun.
Excellent. And if we invited you to come back, would you be interested in doing so?
Absolutely, yes.
Excellent. We are definitely going to have you back.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that.
But we're going to be going over a play today. We're going over Eugene O'Neill's second play that he wrote in his lifetime, and it is called The Web. And it can be found in the first volume of his complete plays. These are the complete plays from 1913 to 1920. And Eugene O'Neill started writing plays after he got out of the sanatorium due to his bout with tuberculosis, which coincidentally enough was where he ended up after the events of Long Day's Journey into Night took place. But he wrote that much later in his career. But the discussion starter that I have for this one-act play is: The Web is a play that takes place in a rooming house on the Lower East Side, New York, and follows a young woman named Rose. She has a baby daughter and an abusive partner named Steve. Eventually, a yeggman named Tim, who is on the run but staying in their rooming house, chases Steve away and forms a bond with Rose, leaving her in a web of trouble. What did you think about all of the characters in this play? Not just the ones I mentioned, but the supporting characters like the policeman and the 2 detectives.
The policeman and the 2 detectives were nincompoops for the time. They don't know. They just assumed, when they saw the scene, they just assumed by face value what the scene was. They didn't really do any detective work. They didn't do any, procedurals. I don't even know if, because, at the time, I'm not sure how the police procedurals were done back then, but that was a crappy
Investigation. Yeah,
I was
not much of an investigation at all.
I was doing some research specifically on fingerprinting, because even though Steve shot and killed Tim and dropped the gun into the rooming house through the window,
and closed the window
and disappeared. Closed the window, disappeared. While that really would erase that form of evidence, you have the gun on the floor. I'm not sure. I don't think Rose touched it.
Mm-mm.
No, nobody touched it. So, and after the first fingerprinting was just starting around that time, and the very first person to be convicted of through fingerprinting was a man by the name of Thomas Jennings in Chicago, who murdered a man named Clarence Hiller, and that was in 1910. And in New York, they were already starting to operate. The NYPD was already using fingerprinting. That was the only gripe that's the only thing that I had as far as gripes were concerned.
It's a cutting-edge technology, though, like you said at the time. It's brand new, so O'Neill might not even been aware of it as a possibility.
That was the one thought that boggled me. Whether or not he knew about it, I think he could have just had a concept in mind, and it was more about the dark side of the world of women and prostitution, and how they get themselves into these webs of trouble that are dominated by men, and it's next to impossible for them to get out of. But as far as the characters and the way that he set up this play was concerned, he did a brilliant job. He just does. He is so thorough with how he lays every detail out.
And when he has it out.
When it takes place, a lot of it is more. A lot of what he writes, it's more direction and action rather than what they're saying. And I think that it's very accurate to the real world, rather than like when you read Shakespeare, everything is words. It's in the words of Hamlet. Words, words, words.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it's more more action driven.
Yes,
Yeah.
accurately so too. Not like Mission Impossible or Rush Hour, but what people would be doing in the circumstance.
Yeah, I thought the characters were all very well written. You know, you got your favorites, you got the ones that you don't like at all. But
Like
I think,
Steve.
yeah, I like Steve, and the cops aren't so nice either. But then you got Tim, who's a really good guy, seems like, who's, you know, just on the wrong side of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose, you know, she's...
And I think Tim, like Rose, was just in a circumstance where he couldn't get himself on to the right track.
Seems that way.
Or he
Yeah.
didn't want to.
It was. I mean, there were things he probably could have done better. He could have made better decisions, but he just didn't
Made
have.
them.
Yeah, he didn't have that opportunity, or some. Yeah, he didn't have many great opportunities to do so.
Yeah, but he has now decided that he is going to be outside the law, right? Like, he's made that conscious choice now because he does not like society, right? Or he does not like, not that he doesn't like society, but he doesn't like the fact that he's been kind of put in a position where he felt, where you know, he had to go to prison and all that kind of bad stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm being clear, but yeah, he doesn't. He's decidedly going to be a criminal, despite the fact that it might have been circumstance that put him in that position at first. He is now perfectly comfortable with being outside the law.
Mm-hmm.
But he still honors like virtue. He still, you know, pursues virtue and stuff like that. So he's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a cool character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like the way that he went after Steve, even though he dealt with things the way he did. But Steve was, to me, he was a coward. But yet, I mean, the way that he took action against him, it was just that things were lined up in his favor. He made the decisions that benefited him at that time, and it lined up in his favor. What did you guys think about the first detective that eventually and unofficially took the baby up for adoption?
Bad guy.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what O'Neill is trying to paint, is like, just because one guy's a cop and the other guy's a crook, you know, the crook actually has more virtue than the cop. I think is, you know, it's interesting the way that he uses moral language. He's like, those guys look bad. Like Tim's always talking about, those guys look bad. That I saw outside today. I was outside and I saw those guys and they looked bad. They were bad looking guys. And Rose is like, oh, you think they're cops? You know, it's like, so he knows exactly what he's talking
I think
about.
the police in this circumstance were very oblivious. I think that they
They're
were just
nincompoops.
very narrow-minded about the gray areas, and they were
Like,
just
you a woman, cause she got like hysterical going to try to get him to, knowing she knew that he was dead, but like she kind of forgot that when they all realized, oh, they're gonna blame her now, and she was trying to get him to like tell them, and he can't because he's dead.
Yeah, she's desperate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the thing is crime is and was so high then. The police, I'm sure it's still that way in New York. That they just overlook a lot just to get a conviction and just to move on because they know there's just something else going on at that very moment or moments from that point in time, so there's no point in dwelling. What I thought was interesting was how quickly Steve and Rose professed love for one another and how he was going to save her and that
Tim
baby.
and Rose?
Or Tim and Rose, I'm sorry. They professed their love for one another. It was such a strong love in such a short amount of time, but I think that was the way people spoke with one another back then, especially in that the economic circumstances they were in New York.
And I think for a one-act play, it flowed appropriately because he really didn't want to. Because Tim knew that they really weren't gonna do anything long term, that he had to go back on the run. But he gave her the funds that she needed
To get to the countryside,
Yes.
to get better for the baby, be there for the baby.
Yes, and then he was going to escape through the fire escape, and but that didn't work out that way, and she was left in another web of issues that involved a gun and a wad of money and a dead person.
And the cops thinking that she did coke. She was high.
I mean, she did have she had consumption, and she was a prostitute. She looked much older than she was. She was only 22, but she looked like she was in her 30s, which at the time, being in your 30s, you looked older. I think people in their 30s now look much younger. I don't know if that's. I think part of it is, I would argue, the truth, but I think a lot of it's also perception.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was perception.
I think a lot of it is the truth. I've seen some articles about it, but we wear our hair differently now. Our clothing styles are more youthful. I mean, if you look at pictures of high school women from the 50s, the 1950s, they looked as though they were in their 40s. And,
The way they were made to dress.
yeah, and the hairstyles and things like that. I think it's just a change in.
Probably
Well,
nutrition too. We probably know a lot more now about nutrition and diet and
Yes.
things, how to take care of ourselves than we didn't know back then.
But I think it's, a lot of it's hairstyle, clothing, and it's people taking much better care of themselves today. So, but yes, that is a good point you bring up, that people did look older then at a certain young age than now than currently. So
Yeah, so it's twice as hard on the women,
yeah,
especially.
But back then it was, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first hint that I got at Rose being a prostitute was the fact that she said that back in pages 21, 22, that one night they have a guy to dinner who's seen me someplace when I was on the town. He tells the lady his duty, he said it was, and she fires me right off the reel, which she was trying to live a decent life with being like a maid or a clean person, but it all reverts back to her time as a prostitute. Though I probably should have gotten hints before that, because Steve is also described as being not just a boyfriend, but also a pimp, because she is paying him as he gets a cut of her money as well, which where it can be perceiving is that she could be working any job and he would want his cut, not just him dictating where and how she streetwalks and performs, but I mean, it was clear that he was he was abusive. He gambled his money away.
Yeah.
Drank.
Certainly acts like a pimp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scum on my shoe.
But yeah, I can't stand it, especially since he got away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really.
It was basically unintentional framing.
And then
I don't know if it's
But
unintentional.
it was probably intentional to put it there, but I don't think they thought that they'll assume it was her.
he did it on the. He acted on the fly because Tim just entered his life. Then Tim was overhearing what was going on,
Yeah.
but he only jumped in at that moment, and Steve.
Doesn't know
Felt
anything
it, yeah.
about the guy.
Mhm.
Steve
No.
doesn't know anything about him, so
Yeah.
he doesn't care about Rose at all. So he's just like, well, this guy slighted me, so I'll kill him, and then so there's no investigation. I'll just put the gun here and they'll blame her. And that's it. You know, like not really thinking that deeply about it. 'Cause
And I
he doesn't
think
care
more
about
so
it.
they wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Wouldn't
He
have
doesn't
had to
care about her so much. You know, he'd probably rather keep her, but would just as soon make her face penalties for something that she had nothing to do with.
And I think, like, as far as the first detective taking in the infant, the baby is concerned, it was, it kind of reminded me of, like, this heavyweight wrestler. Because the way that he was playing with the baby in an elephantine kind of way, and she screams her mama, and he said, "I'm your mama now," which we don't know where it goes from there. You would hope that if he were to actually take her in for adoption, it would be in a decent kind of living situation, rather than more of the dark world, because being a detective, you're not supposed to reflect the actions of the dark world.
Right.
Because this happens when all the policeman and the second detective have already gone off with Rose,
Yeah.
and it's just the baby and the first detective at the time.
Yeah.
So is the first detective acting in accordance to their thinking, or is he acting on his own whim?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's part of me that says it's probably symbolic of now this child's going to be awarded the state. It's kind of like how I kind of take it, but yeah, I don't know. It's a good question because yeah, how is this cop going to treat this kid? Like it's a weird comment. I'm your mama now. It's a weird thing to say. You get the feeling that he's not married. He's not thinking about his wife at all. You know, so he's going to take on the responsibility of raising this kid. It's just I don't know. It's just it's creepy. It strikes me as a little weird.
It is weird for
Yeah.
sure.
Weird. Mm-hmm.
But does anybody have anything else that they wanted to say?
No.
Already, any final thoughts? Okay. How would we rate this? 0 to 5 stars, half stars permitted. Larry?
Well, it's really short. It's only a one-act play. I think it does a pretty good job of getting across, you know, the desperation of people in poverty in New York at the time. So I would give it, I'd say 3 stars. I don't know. It was okay. So I'd say 3.
Okay.
I'm going to also go with 3. It was well written, and it conveyed every thought and feeling of the playwright. It was good. It was definitely a 3-star.
Tara?
3.5.
What makes you like it better than Larry and Jan?
I don't know. Just I like short stuff like that. Makes you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you're done with it, you think a little bit more about it.
Yeah, you know what I liked about it too is as an artifact. I like it like as this idea where you know like really feels like theater. You know what I mean? Like artists getting together and writing plays for actors and like really, you know what I mean? Like a scene. You know, like being a part of like I'm gonna write a one-act play. Just like an appreciation for people actually putting on like shows like that.
And he did do something of that nature.
It's like it's not just Broadway. You know what I mean? People think of plays, they think of like high theater, but this could have been, like instead of TV, people probably went to like cheap theaters, and saw like a play like this.
And they kind of still do. There's a lot of opportunities to check out plays, not just one-act plays, but just standard plays in particular. I've thought about going to some of them, but just never got around to it.
Yeah, and it's a different time now. Like back then, I mean, I'm sure we would probably all be going to plays, to things like that, just because you need some kind of entertainment.
Yes, it'd be like an equivalent to going to the movie theater.
Yeah, exactly. So I liked it from that aspect too. Just thinking about that slice of time when that kind of thing was going on, and I would have liked that.
I'm giving this 4.5 stars.
Wow, that's high.
Yes, because I thought that this was just very well written, very well organized, very honest. I think that we get a great sense of each of the characters, and they each take on an important role for what their role is worth in such a short period of time. And it also lays down the groundwork for what's to come from Eugene O'Neill's career. I read and went over Wife for a Life, which was his very first. And I actually did I actually put together some kind of curriculum for if anybody wants to utilize my take on reading it, approaching it, and thought questions.
This particular work?
No, that'd be Wife for a Life.
Oh, okay.
But in this one, I opted for a general discussion, and I think that there's a lot that can be approached as far as thought questions are concerned.
I'd definitely be interested in looking into more of his stuff. Like after he got more established, I'd want to see if we could pick up the influence and I don't know much about Eugene O'Neill. I haven't read him, so.
I'd like to read more from Eugene O'Neill, and I read some biographical information from him as well. He was a very, very flawed person. I don't think he was from what I've read about him, he wasn't a very good person, where he had 3 children, disowned 2 of them, and was married a few times. His youngest daughter actually got married to Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she was Charlie Chaplin's 4th and final wife.
How about that?
Mm-hmm. And they had I think he had most of his kids with her.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
But, this is among the start of Eugene O'Neill's 30-year playwriting career. Because people know him most for Long Day's Journey into Night, or Long Day's Journey into Night. There was no A at the beginning, but toward the end he was more autobiographical with his plays. But he's examined quite a few areas with his writing. He's a Nobel Prize-winning playwright. He won in 1936. If you are interested in reading this and a lot of his earlier plays, here's my copy from Library of America, and I have the other 2 over on my shelf, and I definitely am inclined to explore more.
Yeah, me too.
I'll definitely keep him in mind for future play discussions. Be sure to join us next time on another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading. Alrighty, let's go have some spaghetti Marco Polo.
All right.